Section 26 of Psychology, the Cognitive Powers. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Psychology, the Cognitive Powers, by James McCosh. Book 3rd, The Comparative Powers. By these we proceed from something given or allowed to something else derived from it by the simple exercises of thought directed to the objects. They are commonly represented as being simple apprehension, judgment, and reasoning. These are all performed by the comparative powers, specially by 3 of them: the faculties which discover the relations of identity, comprehension, and resemblance. 1. Simple apprehension, the product of which is the notion. There are 3 kinds of notions: the singular, the abstract, and the general concept. The singular notion is given us originally by the simple cognitive faculties of sense perception and self-consciousness. Upon this we may perform discursive processes and still keep it singular. Thus, Socrates is a singular term, which we are enabled to apprehend because we know ourselves by the 2 original inlets of knowledge. This man is also a singular term, though we have performed an intellectual process and referred the individual to the class man. In the singular notion, there is no exercise of the comparative powers. It comes into logic simply among the things given or allowed, and not among the processes. The abstract notion is formed by what we may call the power of comprehension. It is the notion of an attribute. The general notion or concept is the product of the faculty of resemblance. It is the notion of objects joined by their possessing common attributes. 2. Judgment. In this we compare notions with the view of declaring their agreement or disagreement in a proposition, affirmative or negative. Our judgments proceed on our notions, and our singular notions carry us back to our primitive cognitions and beliefs, and our abstract and general notions imply previous acts of comparison involving previous cognitions or ideas. Our judgments passed on notions have thus a reference to things or imaginations formed out of things. Our judgments may be of 3 kinds. They may declare an identity, as when we say, metaphysics is the science of first principles, logic is the science of the laws of discursive thought. Or they may be judgments of comprehension, as when we say, the dog barks, where we make barking an attribute of the dog, or it may be one of extension, that is, of classes or general notions. Thus we may interpret the last example as meaning dogs are in the class of barking animals. 3. Reasoning. It is acknowledged that this is a form of judgment in which we have 3 notions instead of 2, and compare 2 notions by means of a 3rd. The New Zealander, as he has the power of speech, is a man. Here we compare New Zealander and man by means of possessing the power of speech. We have already seen that the principle of identity regulates many of our ratiocinations. So far as reasoning in extension, the reasoning treated in the common logical treatises, is concerned, the principle of resemblance is involved, the resemblance of the objects in the concepts. The horse, being a mammal, is warm-blooded. Here we place horse in the class mammal, and therefore in the class of warm-blooded animals. There may also be reasoning in comprehension, in which we look to the attribute, as when we say, this man, having intelligence, conscience, and free will, is responsible, where it is argued that the attributes of intelligence, conscience, and freedom, involving responsibility, man as possessing these, must be responsible. Reasoning in comprehension may always be translated into reasoning in extension. Logic does not, everyone now acknowledges, give us the power of reasoning or discursive thought. It simply expounds the process involved. We think and reason spontaneously, then reflect upon what has passed in our minds, and may express the operation in formal laws. It follows that if we have given the proper account of the logical laws, we have unfolded the laws of our ordinary processes of thinking from day to day in the common affairs of life. Every man is exercising continually the faculties which have just passed under our notice, and what psychology does is to unfold the nature of these faculties, while it is the function of logic to formulate them into laws by which we may test discursive thought, may justify the truth, and expose the error. End of section 26.